Here from Retiring Disgracefully. Yeah, it's still called Retiring Disgracefully, unfortunately. Still waiting to the COVID to go completely, and then I'm going to get out and about, and that's when I'll change the name. As you can see, I'm in my hotel room. Still don't feel 100%. I'm hoping the next few days it's going to go away completely. I tested negative this morning, which is great news. Once again, I tested negative. So it's just, I've got a little bit of I think a lot of the fluid has got on my chest, and it's knocking me around a little bit. But I think that's going to go away in the next few days. I'm taking medicine and I went to the pharmacy and bought a few drugs to help me get through that. Very cheap here. You can get, not like if I'd gone back in Australia, I'd need to get a second mortgage if I wanted to get rid of COVID by buying over-the-counter prescriptions, but here it's a couple of dollars, and I've got what I needed, and hopefully that'll do the trick. So what I want to tell you about, I'll just switch this on and start recording. What I'd like to tell you is there's been some changes in the test and go system here in Thailand. This was on the 14th of April, today's the 16th, so it's 2 days ago. And I'll read directly, this is from the Bangkok Post. The government will next week consider scrapping the test and go entry scheme and the Thailand Pass registration as it aims to pull in more visitors to help the struggling tourism sector. Tourism and Sports Minister Phiphat Ratchakitprakarn said on Wednesday the Ministry and the Tourism Authority of Thailand, TAT, will put forward a proposal for cancellations at the meeting of the Centre for COVID-19 Situations Administration, or CCSA, and they're going to do this on April the 22nd, in 6 days' time. They're going to suggest to the government that we scrap everything and just let people into the country. If approved, the changes are expected to take effect on May the 1st. So what they're actually trying to do is, from May the 1st, you'll be able to fly into the country. You won't have to stay in quarantine for one night or stay in a hotel overnight while you're tested for COVID and then wait for the results the next day. And you won't have to wait 5 days and then do it all again, like was part of the scheme not so long ago. So in other words, you'll be going back to pre-COVID days, when you could just, as long as you had the right visa, you could just fly in and have a holiday. And that's what Thailand's all about. This is what we want here. But you will also need insurance, which you needed that before. I don't think it was ever law that you had to have travel insurance, but if now with COVID, yes, you're going to need your travel insurance to cover in case you come down with COVID or you have a bad accident here or whatever, to cover all the costs. They don't want to be out of pocket here because you've decided to come here without the proper insurance. And I often see in newspapers people who do come here without the insurance, and then they go on GoFundMe to try and get out of the problems that they've caused themselves and ask the rest of the world to bail them out. So yeah, that's going to be still part of it. You're still going to need your insurance, but you'll be able to just fly in and have a holiday if that happens. Now then, my doubts about that is because it's now Songkran, and I think there will be a spike. It happened last year. They allowed Songkran to go ahead last April, and then we got massive big spike in COVID transmissions, because people were travelling all over Thailand to go and visit their families, and they took the disease with them when they travelled throughout. When they sat on a bus, sat on an aeroplane, went to visit their families, sat in a car with 4 people. One person had COVID, it was passed to the other people. So there was a big spike. And to be honest, I can see that happening now. I mean, the hotel I'm staying in now is it's full, and it's full of families and children, and they're all running around and jumping in and out swimming pools and having a great time. And some of them will have COVID, and some will pass it on to other people. So that's going to be the problem. I think the Tourism Authority of Thailand are always looking for new schemes. I mean, they're justifying their jobs, let's face it. That's their job, and there's not a lot for them to do because there's not much tourism now. So they're always coming up with new schemes, and they're always asking the government to do this and to do that. And for the good of the country, yes, they need to do that. They need to get the country open again, and but the problem will be is, people don't want to come here and get sick, and they don't want to end up in hospital. So they have to be very, very careful, and I think this is a bad time to be doing it. It's right slap bang in the middle of Songkran when everyone's travelling. I think they should have waited and see what happens. Let's give it a week and see what the infection rates are like, if the hospitals are full and people are starting to get sick again with this COVID and spikes again, then maybe they should just put it on hold a little while. Speaking from experience. So I'll just read a little bit more about what Mr. Phiphat said. Mr. Phiphat said the ministry estimates that at least 10 million tourist arrivals and 1.15 trillion baht in tourism income hinges on what travel policies the country formulates at this stage of the pandemic. Thailand is already welcoming back foreign visitors as our public health system is adequately equipped. Well, it isn't. Sorry, Mr. Phiphat, it's not. It might be surviving, and it might be doing okay now, but if you get millions of tourists arriving here, and you've got also, as I said, about Songkran, where people are maybe going to be exposed to COVID, then I think in the next few weeks you might find that it's not adequately equipped. However, there's been a concern about the number of domestic deaths caused by COVID-19, while the daily caseloads of infections after Songkran will also be taken into account, which is what I've just said. Yes, what you do now and what you do next week will probably be 2 different things. Restrictions have been gradually eased since November to revitalise the tourism sector. The government lifted the requirements for pre-travel RT-PCR tests for the air travellers arriving in the kingdom under its Test and Go sandbox and quarantine programme from April the 1st. So they've already been tweaking that and trying to making that a little bit easier for people coming here. But now they're saying, okay, maybe from May the 1st we can open up. So let's live in hope. As I say, I'm not doom and gloom. This isn't me, but I'm just living in Thailand. I know what I've seen over the years and what the government says one minute and what one department of the government says is quite often different to the people who make the decisions. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, TAT don't make the decisions. They can only put recommendations to the government. So let's see what happens in another 6 days. Let's see what happens with the Songkran, see if there is a spike. I went out last night to Bangkok for the first time in 2 weeks, and it was packed, absolutely packed out. They got a superstar on there. I didn't stay long, I just went for something to eat really, and my first beer in 2 weeks I had last night. And people are relaxed about COVID now, and I haven't seen this for a long time like this. People are starting to think, well, it's here, let's deal with it, let's just live with it. So a lot of people, they sit down, they've not wearing masks while they're eating and drinking, obviously, but they get up when they need to go to the toilet or they want to go to the bar, they put their mask on and walk up there. But really, it's all talk and gesture. I mean, I don't think you wearing a mask for 10 seconds while you get up and go to the bar is going to stop you catching COVID if you're going to sit there for the rest of the night with a mask off, eating and drinking and talking, and people are walking past you and dancing and shouting and singing. So it's here, it's with us. Let's just see how things go in the future. I'm starting to get a little bit excited now about getting out of the hotel and getting out of Hua Hin for a little while. So hopefully next time you see me, I know I said that last time, but next time you see me, I'll be on the road heading out of Hua Hin and take you to see some places off the beaten track, heading down towards Koh Samui.